Let's take a look at some droids. What's up, LEGO builders? Welcome back to Coconut Brick Studios. I recently did my annual Clone Army Showcase, and you can't have a Clone Army without a Droid Army. That's like, well, yeah, I'm sure you can think of an example. And while my Clone Army definitely gets a lot more of the attention, my Droid Army isn't too shabby with over 250 battle droids of various kinds, 9 walkers, 7 tanks, and 1 big old Coreship. Before we dive into the showcase, don't forget to execute Order 66 on that like button, and let's get started. Well, as you can see, the Droid Army is probably not even half the size of my Clone Army, but they do make it up a little bit in the vehicle department. We'll just say this is a more compact, a more mobile army. I feel like that's the more diplomatic way of saying it. So over here on the left, we've got tanks. In the back, we've got the giant Air Force. And then over here on this side, we've got walkers. So starting over here, we've got tons of different kinds of walkers. I mean, this is one of the coolest things about the Droid or Separatist army, in my opinion, was the variety of war machines, right? You have just about every different functionality or possible configuration of weapon. Up here in the very front, we've got a couple roller droids. These are custom ones designed by my buddy Grinding Bricks. Very happy with how these look. They're scaled greatly, designed well, like overall just a solid build. So if you're looking for a good design, check him out. And then to the right, we've just got a couple of generic dwarf spider droids. You know, just pick these up in various builds. This was like LEGO's go-to side build back in the day for their Clone Wars sets. Just get some generic spider droid. And then behind them, we've got my custom crab droids. I designed these when I was doing my Battle of Utapau mock, and I'm pretty happy with how they look. I feel like the design still holds up pretty well. I don't really have much of a desire to modify them, which is, you know, means they turned out pretty good. I used to have a third one, but felt like I didn't need one for the time being, so I think I took it apart. Up here in the back, we got the classic Homing 1 spider droid, or whatever it's called. This is another set as well. This is the one, for some reason, it came with Kashyyyk troopers, even though I guess we did see some of these spider droids in the background of the Battle of Kashyyyk. And then next to it, we've got a pretty rare LEGO set, the Battle of Geonosis proton cannon. This thing's actually really cool. It's got a firing cannon there in the middle, and then you can raise and lower the turret, articulating legs. It's a pretty decent build, especially for a LEGO set. And then next to it, we have basically the opposite. This is probably one of my least favorite droid vehicles in my collection, and it's not because I hate the snail tank, it's just because this design is just, it's pretty bad. Like, you can see it's very generic, very basic. Now, I won't hold this against LEGO because this is their 2010 version. They came out with a 2013 one that was much more detailed and just much better designed. So, you know, that's good on them for their part of not reusing this. This is kind of like one of those remnant sets that I was talking about in my Clone Army video, where, you know, the remnants of old sets that I used to buy, because I definitely wouldn't buy something like that now. I'd rather go with a mock or the 2013 version. Then tucked away here in the middle, we've got some Octopara droids. This is the official LEGO version. It comes in the 212th Trooper Battle Pack. And then right here, we've got a couple custom ones designed by Clone Plays. That's not his new name now. I'm still trying to figure out or remember what it is, but I'll just call him Clone Plays for now. He did a really good job with these. They looked awesome on Utapau, and I'd definitely like to be able to bust these out again sometime for a mock. Moving on to the Air Force, which consists of a Vulture droid and this Coreship, which, I mean, I included this Coreship because it's a Separatist, you know, set or ship, but it's not really ever, like, it's more of like a micro scale build, so I don't know that I would ever include it in a mock with actual minifigs. So that's kind of why there's a little bit of a caveat there. You know, technically it is part of the army, but it's not really something I would use in a mock unless it's like way off in the distance and I do like a forced perspective. This is a pretty cool little ship. This is the Brick Vault Vulture droid. They did a really good job with this one. I don't remember who designs it, but the wings open, they can move around, the head pops up, it can move around as well. Very accurate looking, very big, very sturdy. Overall, awesome design. They also do have a Trade Federation version. Moving over here to my favorite side, we've got the tanks. So these 4 bad boys are custom AATs. These front 2 were designed by Mr. Idler. This is probably one of the best designed AATs out there. Very compact, very detailed, very accurate. I absolutely love these. I mean, you can tell I've got 4 and I've got more on the way. These 2 are my favorite just because I have a soft spot in my heart for Trade Federation vehicles. And then behind them, we've got a couple of the CIS versions. These ones were actually partially designed by Rich Boy J. So The base model is Mr. Idler's design, but he didn't have instructions for the CIS version, so Rich Boy J went through and modified and changed certain aspects like the engines and then these front rounded panels to be able to adapt them to the blue and tan color. So props to him for taking the time to do that. I'm going to be getting a lot more of those for my Christophsis mock soon. Behind them we have Lego's greatest separatist or droid set, in my opinion. I guess it's not technically separatist, but the Trade Federation MTTs. These came out in 2008 and just are beautiful. I mean, they're freaking bricks. They're tanks. They're so solid. Like, I can pick these up and drop them. They've got wheels. The front cockpit opens. The rear opens. There's so much playability with these. But in that same vein, they also look really cool. I mean, they're big. They're detailed. I've used these in multiple mocks now. I'm very happy to have these in my collection. Downside is they're super expensive and super hard to find these days. Okay, moving on to the minifigs. So I've got, obviously you can see the bulk of my army is just the classic B1 battle droid. I did this for a couple of reasons. First is they're the cheapest one to collect, and second, typically, you know, the Trade Federation tactics are throw as many battle droids at the enemy as you can, and this is often the most common battle droid. So it's the easiest one to accrue. So I've got about 200 of these, 200 plus, and I think that's, you know, probably about as big as I need of an army of those, but it's these droids over here that I need to beef up. And I always think like, oh, I gotta broaden my collection, expand the types of droids I have, but there aren't a ton of variations that you really need a lot of. Like, nobody really wants an army of AAT drivers or an army of commanders, you know what I mean? One of the sections I would like to beef up a lot more are the B2 super battle droids. These are a little bit rare, a little bit more hard to find, so I don't have a ton of them, but I am proud to say I do have some of the super battle droids with the rocket launcher arm. These are pretty sweet, and I definitely like to get more of these for future mocks. I'm going to need a lot more of these for Christophsis, so I think this next mock Christophsis is actually going to boost the droid army instead of boosting the clone army like it normally does. Up in front, we've got a bunch of rocket droids. Basically, the Dark Tan Geonosis battle droid with dark bluish gray arms and legs, and then they have a little backpack on the back. So nothing too crazy here, but they are pretty cool. And then I've got a commander up here in front, and then in the middle we've just got your various different types of droids. We've got the dark red security droids, we've got the blue pilot droids, a couple commando droids, and then this guy is actually a normal droid, but he's got bendable arms. These are custom arms I believe I bought from Brick Arms. They are actually really cool, and I'd like to get some more of these. I only have about 4 right now, but you can make some pretty cool poses. If you want to learn more about those arms, I did a full review on them. I'll post a link to that at the top of the video. And right here in the middle, we've got my generic droid commander. Up in front, we have my favorite type of droid, the Dark Tan Geonosis battle droid. I think part of the reason these guys are my favorite is because a lot of these that I own are newer than these battle droids, so they just feel better. They feel more, they feel higher quality just because the joints don't break as much and stuff. But I think that just has to do with the age, although the darker pigmentation could have something to do with that. I don't know. I also just really like the color, and who doesn't love Geonosis? So definitely want to get more of these for a big Geonosis mock. For some reason, even though I don't have very many of those guys, I do have a ton of commanders. And then up in the very front, we've got some of my Separatist leaders. We've got General Grievous, we've got Newt Gunray. This is the official Lego version, definitely one of their better Lego minifigs they've done. And last but definitely not least, we've got one of my favorite Separatist command leaders. This is a custom Wat Tambor. Just look at the incredible detailing on this. This was a custom one gifted to me to review. Very happy with it. If you want to see that full review and where you can get one of these yourselves, I'll post a link to that short down below in the comments. But this guy is really cool. So that does it for my Droid Army Showcase. Very small, but you know, still fun to see what I got, especially because a lot of these I don't really pull out as often as I do the Republic stuff. But like I said, Christophsis is really gonna boost this Droid Army because I need a lot more AATs. I need more snail tanks. I might be doing one of those giant tri-droids, and then of course, you know, the more B2 battle droids. So this will definitely be bigger the next time you see it, unless of course I get rid of some of the weirder sets that I don't really like. Anyways, don't forget to let me know what you think about this droid army down below in the comments, as well as what your favorite part or favorite vehicle was, and I will catch you next time. But until then, happy building.